Hey guys, I'm going to show you a quick tip on how to do some dodging and burning in Lightroom. This will work in Lightroom 4 and it'll work in Lightroom 5. It's just a super simple, super quick way of fixing some minor issues with a picture. You can really overdo this, so you got to watch it. But in a regular everyday situation where you just have little tweaks to do, this works great. So first of all, I'm going to come over here and teach you the adjustment tool. That's the adjustment tool. This is, to me, the single most important tool in Lightroom. Lightroom does a lot of other things, but to me, learning how to use and using this tool is the difference between having pictures that really pop and just pictures. So we're going to click on you'll notice we have the regular list of things. When you click on the tool, you have a whole bunch of stuff you can do: temp, tint, exposure, contrast, highlights, shadows, white, black, clarity, so all kinds of stuff. But this stuff only affects this area that you see, that dot. I'll put it down here so you can see it more clearly. That little dot right there, the only stuff that is in any way affected is what you paint with this dot. So let me show you how this works. You can see the back of this plastic. This is Gene at Niagara Falls, and the picture's, it's not a very good picture, but it'll do. But I want to make the yellow pop on this a little bit. So what I can do is I'll come in here, and you can see I have the exposure set at 41, which will pop it up just a little, not that much. And everything else is pretty much set towards neutral. I have contrast up at 5. But I usually like my photos a little more contrasty than just your average pair. So I'm going to go ahead and paint by holding down the left mouse button and painting the area. Now, one thing I want to make clear: you can see the circles. There's a firm circle on the inside, and an outer circle is not quite as it's more translucent. The effect fades towards the outsides, so just keep that in mind. We go like here, we start painting the area that we want to bring up and pop. You won't be able to see it doing too much because 41 is really not all that much for this bright of a picture, but you'll see I went ahead and painted it up there. And I also want her legs to come up, and maybe that right there, and maybe this shadow right here. Okay, so that didn't actually do much. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come over here to the exposure, and then I'm going to go ahead and crank it up a little bit. Whoa! See how much more that brings that up? It makes it almost, a different picture. Now, I also think this is just really yellow. I want to go ahead and pop the saturation a little bit. So just pop the saturation a little bit. Yeah, that really, really brings it out. Okay, and you can mess with the clarity. Clarity is great. One thing I do want to mention, though: if you're doing this and you're painting a person's face who has, let's say she or he have a lot of wrinkles on their face, you can go ahead and paint their face and then knock the clarity. Don't paint their eyes, just the rest of their face. You don't want to knock out the clarity of the eyes, but the rest of the face, it's fine. You go ahead and paint the face and then move the clarity down just a little bit, and it will help soften the wrinkles. Okay, so I've done this. I've got brought everything up I want to bring up. Let's bring up the hat a little bit too. Go ahead over here. Now, to change the size, what I'm doing is I'm taking a scroll. I got a mouse with a scroll button, and I'm just scrolling the scroll button on the mouse. I'm sure there's a way to do it on a trackpad, but I can't imagine using. Ooh, that's way too bright. So I'm going to edit undo. I can't imagine actually trying to use a trackpad to do Lightroom. That's up. If you can do it, that's your thing. I'll let you do that. Okay, so we're done with that. Now, once you're done with that, go ahead and click it back. And these are your whole picture adjustments. Now, let's say I wanted to do something the other way. This area up here, this area here where it's kind of it's just not very interesting and it's kind of distracting. Let's say I want to blue that up a little bit and darken that up a little bit. So I come back in here. Notice I left it. I come back, and here I can do something here. What I'm going to do is I'm going to set this to way dark. Now, this is going to be far too dark, but I'll go ahead and paint this anyway. This will be like black. Yeah, that's good. And I'll paint that in kind of where I want it to be. maybe a little further down. Okay, obviously that looks horrible, so what I'm going to do is take the exposure and then I'm going to start working it back until we get to about where I want it. There we go. And it's supposed to be a blue sky, so let's go ahead and take the temperature and change the temperature. It's only going to change the area there. It's a little too dark still, so I'm going to... There, I blew up the sky a little bit. It's subtle, but only you will know that you did that. All right. Let's click on to another one. I'll show you another way to use this. This is my friend Leanne. We had a pork feast supper thing for a coworker, a lunch for a coworker who is fighting cancer, a fundraiser. And as an aside, I'm a vegetarian, and they cooked this stuff, this pulled pork barbecue stuff, right next to my office. That was not a good day. It's just pulled pork is not my thing. No, and I had to smell it all morning. But anyway, we made a lot of money, and so that was the main point. But you can see how Leanne's face here is kind of not as bright as we'd like it to be, and she has really kind of much lighter hair than that, so this doesn't really look like her. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come over here and just pop her face up a little bit. I'll put it at 38 to start with. You can see how that brightened that right up. And it'll brighten her hair up a little bit too. Alright. Now one thing let's go ahead and give her arms a little brightness too. One thing you want to make sure you do as you're increasing brightness on these, you want to make sure you don't make it look unnatural. And one of the things, like with a person with a white complexion like this, it's actually a pink complexion. And if you brighten it up too much, they become really pink. So what you can do is cut down the saturation so that it looks natural. So that looks a lot more natural. When you run into people of other skin pigmentations, the goal is to make the pigmentation look like what they actually look like. So this is what she looks like, so we're going to go with that. That'll give you an idea of how I use this. That'll do for now. Talk to you later. Bye.